Coming to you from the Lydia Media Studios in the heart of Lewiston, Auburn, it's Lydia's Lunch Bunch, LA's afternoon morning show. We are covering news and events in the greater LA area and talking to the people making a difference in our community. Give us a listen at lydiamediallc.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And feel free to share your comments, questions, or suggestions via email at podcast@lydiamediallc.com.
Today's show is brought to you by UPI Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, serving residential and commercial customers with new installations and repairs. Call today and schedule your oil and gas boiler cleanings, 754-4556. UPI, the best plumbers around. And by Ruper's Beverage and Redemption. When it comes to beer, wine, and spirits, don't botch it, squatch it. At 6 locations in Lewiston, Auburn, and Oxford. Learn more at rupersbeverage.com. And remember, the party starts at Ruper's.
Our guest today is the Director of Development and Engagement for Safe Voices, Grace Kendall.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm so good.
I'm sorry, I botched that. I should have said the award-winning Grace Kendall.
Look at you.
Look at me. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more with Grace coming up in just a bit. But right now, let's take a look at some headlines for Tuesday, October the 1st.
Fire crews freed a trapped 16-year-old girl with special needs at a fire on Hazel Street in Norway yesterday afternoon. The fire began at a stove and was extinguished within 5 minutes. The girl inhaled smoke and was transported to a hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Lewiston police are cautioning residents after a bear was spotted on a security camera in the Pettingill Central Wellman neighborhood. Police are asking residents to secure garbage and recyclables and to bring in bird feeders and pet food.
Senator Angus King introduced 3 bills aimed at keeping nursing homes open. The bills address recruitment, retention, and pay increases. 23 nursing homes throughout the state have closed since the early 2000s.
The Auburn Fire Department and Home Depot have partnered to offer free residential fire extinguishers. The offer is available while supplies last every Saturday this month from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Central Station at 550 Minot Ave.
The vice presidential debate between Tim Walz and J.D. Vance is tonight at 9 p.m.
Today's weather. Sunshine gives way to clouds this afternoon with a high of 66 and a low of 49. Cloudy tomorrow with a high of 64 and partly sunny on Thursday with temps in the high 60s.
In sports, CMCC Baseball visits Bridgeton Academy this afternoon at 4 p.m. and CM Women's Soccer will host UMaine Augusta at 7.
Bates College Men's Soccer will host UMaine Farmington tonight at 7.
On our high school scoreboard, in field hockey, Lisbon beat Mountain Valley 1-0 and Mount Ararat shut out Edward Little 3-0.
In boys soccer, St. Dom's was shut down by Wayne Fleet 8-0.
In volleyball, Lewiston beat Maranacook 3-2.
And baseball legend Pete Rose died yesterday at age 83. The 3-time World Series champion played for 24 seasons, topping Major League Baseball's all-time hit list with 4,256. He was given a lifetime ban from MLB in 1989 for gambling, making him ineligible for the Hall of Fame. Right now, it is time for the podcast segment that is sweeping the Twin Cities. It's time for famous people birthdays.
They're famous. It's their birthdays. It's famous people birthdays. It's famous people birthdays.
Let's take a look at FPBs for October the 1st, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to start off with Brie Larson, who is 35 years old today.
Captain Marvel.
That's right. Mm-hmm. I saw that in her bio, and I was like, Sarah's going to take this one.
Yeah. You know, the first movie I ever saw her in was Scotty Pilgrim versus the World. She's so mad in that movie. Have you seen that movie, Grace?
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Actor and comedian Zach Galifianakis.
He's fun.
Zach Galifianakis is 55 today.
I just love his name.
I don't know if Zach has done anything on par with Between Two Ferns.
It's very funny.
It's hilarious.
He is currently in Only Murders in the Building.
He's also been in the Hangover trilogy.
Yeah.
Actor and comedian and podcaster Chris Titus is 60 years old today. Milestone birthday for Chris. He's a hilarious stand-up. One of the best storytelling comedians
That's tough.
in the business. Most of it, I would say 90% of his act revolves around his dysfunctional family and life experiences.
Isn't that what his show is
And it's
about?
pretty much all true. Yes.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid is 74 years old today.
Yeah.
He made his bones with the National Lampoon Vacation series. Right? Yep.
What was his name? Eddie.
Shirt is full.
He's out there pumping it into the sewer in his hat with the flaps in his bathroom. God,
Uncle
hilarious.
Eddie. Yeah.
Uncle Eddie. The first time I saw him in a serious role was Independence Day, and I was like, man, like he got
a serious role.
Well, for him it was. It got me in the feels. That's why I like felt for him. He played a crazy person, but he wasn't actually crazy. Like he kept claiming that aliens had abducted him and done experiments on him, but in fact, as it turned out, they had.
Wow.
And in the end, he pretty much saved the world.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Spoiler alert for a 25-year-old movie.
Oh, look at that. Randy was also nominated for an Emmy Award for his portrayal of Lyndon B. Johnson in LBJ, The Early Years. Came out in 87. And rounding out and headlining FPBs for October the 1st, the one and only Julie Andrews is 89 years old today.
She's a treasure.
I was going to copy and paste her bio
It's
and
too
her
long.
awards and accomplishments into our
long.
FPB document, but it would have taken up 18 pages.
Yep.
Yeah.
How do you solve a problem like Julie Andrews' bio? How do you solve a problem like Maria?
Is that from The Sound of Music?
Yeah.
All I remember from that movie is she made clothes out of curtains.
Oh, that was
Isn't that Gone with the Wind?
that's Gone with the Wind. Same thing. I was like, it's when Carol Burnett takes the curtains.
I don't think it's Gone with the Wind.
I mean, it happens there too.
Did they make clothes out of curtains in The Sound of Music? The answer is hilariously yes.
Oh my! And she was the Minion. She was in the Minions movie. She was the voice of the mom of Gru's mom.
Thankfully, my kid is old enough that I didn't have to do all that.
She was also in the Shrek movies. She was the voice of the Queen in the Shrek movies.
Yes, she was.
Yeah.
8 decades.
Yeah, over 8 decades, her
and she's
career has
89
spanned.
years old.
So she's
that's
been
amazing.
acting since she was a little. She has a Academy Award, a BAFTA Award, 2 Emmy Awards, 3 Grammy Awards, and 6 Golden Globes, as well as nominations for 3 Tony Awards.
I was going to say, she's so close to EGOT status.
Yeah, she's right there.
Those are your FPBs for October the 1st.
Wow.
Now we shift focus to our guest, our esteemed guest, the award-winning Grace Kendall.
Hi.
Welcome to the show once again.
Yay.
Thanks for participating in FPBs.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Listen, it's hard to shut me up sometimes.
Hi.
Can you pull that mic just a little closer, please?
Sure. I'm usually told that I'm too loud. So
Oh, not here.
Okay,
Not
great.
here. We thrive in chaos. Grace is the Director of Development and Engagement for Safe Voices.
Yes.
And before we get to what Safe Voices is and what it's all about, let's talk about your award.
Let's.
From the Greater Androscoggin
it's
Humane
like,
Society. Because Sarah and I were there that night. We were emceeing.
We got
And we
to
saw
see
Grace.
you.
And we were like, oh my God, Grace is here. And Grace is like, yeah, well, I'm kind of winning an award.
You were emceeing, and I was like, you didn't read the program?
That wasn't our section. That wasn't our part.
You were a professional.
What made you think that?
Why would you think that? You have met us before, right?
Grace, I'm offended.
We know each other in real life.
That's true. Yeah. If you were going to give me an award, then that's the one I want. It's one from the animal shelter.
Yeah.
It was the Greater Androscoggin Humane Society Pets and People Award.
Yes.
What's that all about?
I mean, they're the experts, but so I believe it's
Well, apparently not.
When you win the award, that makes you the expert.
okay.
I don't see any of them
it's
trotting around
for-
with an award.
Work that you've trotting around.
So let's talk about the award. How
Yeah.
did you win it? And where is it in your place?
So as soon as we got home, my partner put it up on a shelf because I think they were like, no, if I give it to you, you're going to have it. You're going to like hide it somewhere.
Oh.
And so they put it up on a shelf, which is very lovely. So the Pets and People Award is for people who do work with the shelter and then also are doing like community engaged work elsewhere to help kind of people out in the community. So it was in large part because of I'm a long-term foster for the Humane Society. I'm actually picking up a foster puppy today because my dog is fully healed from her surgery, and so now I can have fosters
A
again.
playpet.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I foster with Greater Androscoggin, and then in my like day job, I'm with Safe Voices, and so we're working on behalf of survivors of domestic violence and sex trafficking. And we partner really closely with the Humane Society in a lot of cases because all of our shelters are pet friendly, and so oftentimes we're working with them to help kind of catch up on medical care for pets if they haven't been able to get them, if they haven't been able to get their shots. The foster program also helps if we have people who are actively fleeing an abusive situation and need sort of a temporary place for their animal while they're getting a solid plan together. The foster program can help kind of take care of those animals and have them in a loving home while that process is happening.
I think a lot of people don't realize that can be a barrier too for people leaving
Huge barrier.
abusive situations because they're worried about repercussions of leaving a pet behind.
Yeah, so it's as many as half of survivors, if they have pets, they have reported that they either delay leaving or they don't leave at all because they know that the pet is not safe if they leave them behind. And they also, a lot of times that's our biggest support system. Right. And so they will not leave without that animal.
I also read, and I'm not sure if it was in the Twin Cities or not, where pets are allowed in the courtroom as victims are testifying as a source of comfort.
Seen that.
Yeah, so I can't remember the actual, the full program here in Maine. I know that it has to be a service dog. We actually had something before the legislature to have therapy dogs allowed in the courtroom as emotional support animals. And that was not passed. I think they needed some more work on the very fine details before they allowed that. But we actually presented to the legislature in favor of that because
I think some states do have a court-appointed therapy dog. So somebody, a pet, a dog, not a pet, but a service dog that just sits during testimonies and stuff like that is just there for general petting and comfort.
Yeah,
I think that's really cool.
Can you give us an overview of what Safe Voices is all about and your role as Director of Development and Engagement?
So Safe Voices is the Domestic Violence and Sex Trafficking Resource Center that serves Androscoggin, Oxford, and Franklin counties. So it's a big service area. It's about the size of Connecticut. I think a lot of people forget this, but includes an international border. In Franklin County, there's the crossing to get over into Canada. So that's sort of just a good idea of how big the space is that we're serving. And it goes all the way from, very, very rural. I mean, we still have towns that aren't even really towns in Franklin and Oxford County. They're townships or plantations, all the way to Lewiston Auburn, which is the second largest metro area. So that work we are doing through a 24-hour helpline for survivors. So anyone who's experiencing one of those issues can call that helpline, talk with an advocate, do some safety planning, make some plans about what they want their next step to be. Every time we do that, it's individualized to that survivor. Every plan is different. We operate 3 shelters throughout that catchment area. We offer civil and legal advocacy. So if folks are trying to pursue things through the court system, we have people who can help them along with that. Support groups. There's a batterers intervention program that we have. So we're kind of running the whole gamut from very emergent situations, let's help this person who is currently in crisis, all the way down to let's get at the root cause of this issue and see if, someday we can work ourselves out of a job. So in my role as Director of Development and Engagement, I kind of see that as half and half fundraising. So that's a large chunk of my job is fundraising with community events, with major donors, with foundations, and then half really making sure that we are involved citizens of the communities that we serve. So I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One is I love where I live. I love living in Maine. I want to be a citizen, an engaged part of these communities. But 2 is I think the more people see Safe Voices out in the world, the more they see us at their county fair, at their festival that happened up in Rangeley this weekend, then the more comfortable they are knowing this is not an issue to be ashamed of. This is a community issue we should all be engaged with, and we're here to help people if they need it.
It's still so stigmatized.
Yeah, very much.
People feel shame and embarrassment about something that they have almost no control over.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for people to reach out for help, I think, a lot of times. So it is good that you're so available. Just looking at your website, you guys are so available and accessible, and I think that's great.
And that website is safevoices.org. Mm-hmm. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
So October is one of our busiest months, as it should be. So the next thing coming up is actually tomorrow night up in Rumford. There's a walk to end domestic violence. This is a really lovely community walk. It's not like the 5K where there's people who are showing up to race. This is really a walk for community members, for survivors. They walk together from Hosmer Field up to the VFW in Rumford and then back. They've got some speakers that are gonna be there. I believe we might have some survivors who are gonna speak about their experiences. So it's a really great community event. It's 5:30 tomorrow evening. So that's October 2nd in Rumford. On October 7th, we have annual vigils every year. that kind of honor folks who we have lost to domestic violence and also acknowledge the people who are still living within it and trying to navigate through that process, whether that means navigating how they stay in that situation for now because they know that that's safest. For some people, that's the real situation they're in. And for others, they might be at a place of planning their way to kind of be free of that. So we have a vigil. We have one in Lewiston and one in Farmington. Each of them are at 6 p.m. on Monday the 7th. We have a Zoom lunch and learn on Friday the 11th called Understanding the Journey, and that's sort of from abuse to liberation, kind of like what is that going to look like for folks. That's a virtual workshop, so you can join from anywhere and you can get information about it on our Facebook page. For folks who are into this kind of thing and own purple clothing, October 17th is Wear Purple Day, so you can do that from anywhere. And then later this month on both the 22nd and the 23rd, they're happening at different times, but MCEDV, which is the Maine Coalition to End Domestic Violence, we're a member of that coalition. So MCEDV and the Department of Veterans Affairs are partnering to have a virtual screening of the movie called A Better Man. And there'll be a panel afterward with some folks from the VA and some folks from DVRCs, including our Domestic Violence Intervention Program coordinator, Zach. So A Better Man follows a documentary filmmaker who sits down with her former abuser and kind of talks through what it was and why he was the way he was, if he's been able to change.
Wow, that's
very
powerful.
It's very, very powerful.
Grace, what inspired you to pursue a career in this field?
Oh, that's a good question. So I would say two things. One was I worked in communications for a long time, and I worked for Bates College. It's a big, it's a pretty big organization. It's mostly affecting, even though it's here in Lewiston, it's mostly having an effect out of state because most of those students do not stay in Maine. And I really felt I was in my mid-30s and I was feeling like I wanted to be doing work that was here and that was actually helping my neighbors. So that was sort of the impetus for looking at this kind of work. And then, I grew up in a house that was deeply affected by domestic violence. And so for me, this was also a way to kind of take what I had been working through in therapy for years and then just kind of turn it around and be like, okay, wait, this is actually also a skill set I have to be able to talk about these issues, tell stories about these issues, and hopefully change something for the better. So there's power in being able to take this thing that was bad and then saying, but there's a skill attached to that not everyone has, and then using it to make something better.
Wow. Now you're helping countless others.
I can count it, actually. We served 2,318 people last year.
Wow.
So, and the number, we ran numbers at the third quarter. It's going to be higher this year. The need is increasing, but the awareness of Safe Voices and the services is also increasing, that's what I want to see. That's how we work ourselves out of a job, is that people know that we're here and we can create those partnerships, not just with survivors, but with local businesses, organizations, law enforcement. That's what we're doing.
And your location in Lewiston is at 100 Lisbon Street?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's our resource center. And then we also have a resource center up in Farmington as well.
And a Fall Fête and Community Awards
that
coming
sounds
up
like
on
it could be fun.
October 24th.
So the Fall Fête is our annual fundraising gala. We do it every October in DVAM. It's one of the biggest infusions of unrestricted money that we get.
I like that term, unrestricted money.
So many grants that we get are restricted in some way. They're only to be used for shelter. They're only to be used for advocacy, and we still have to pay our CMP bill. So
Yes.
So getting that unrestricted money is huge. So through sponsorships and tickets and table sales, and then people donating at a silent auction, usually this event brings in about $25,000 to $30,000, and that's huge.
That's fabulous.
Our speaker this year is Daryl Fort, who is the board president for the Maine Coalition to End Domestic Violence. and he is a gender violence prevention activist and is going to speak about the role in community and especially the role of men in the prevention of domestic violence.
Where do people go to find tickets for this event?
So they can go to our website, safevoices.org, go to the events page. You can also find information about it on our Facebook page as well. Tickets run on a sliding scale, so they're from $25 to $75, and then tables are $5.25 for a table of 8.
And that's at the Hilton Garden Inn?
It is.
Yeah. That's a beautiful venue.
Yeah, it is. And they're just always so great with us when we get, they make it so easy, which is very nice as an event planner. They can be really stressful. She's already looking at dresses. I can see her computer.
Yeah.
Space cats. It's purple.
Do you know that the first time I met Sarah, though, this is how we met. I went up to her at an event and complimented her dress because it was cats doing something.
Cats playing with...
Oh, it must have been at the Greater Androscoggin Humane Society.
No.
No.
It was
It was an outdoor...
it was the Chamber Awards
Chamber.
a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And that's how we met was I went up and said, hi, you don't know me. That dress is amazing.
Yes, and I said, it has pockets.
Yeah. Yep, that sounds right.
And then I went into the porta potty. That's how Grace and I met.
Yep.
In the line for the
And I
bathroom.
thought, that's my people.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Grace, anything else about Safe Voices that you would like to share?
The thing that I think people don't know about this work is, they think it's hard when they hear that I work in domestic violence prevention. They think it's hard. They think it's sad. And at moments, yes. But at most moments, I am so blown away by how amazing survivors are and how they continue to show up with so much grace and care for other people. And they're just so badass. And so even though the work can be hard, it is also such an honor to get to work with survivors and the advocates who serve them all day, every day. Because I learned so much from the advocates who I work with. I do advocacy, but I don't do it all day 9 to 5 the way that they do. And I just get to meet so many cool, amazing, powerful people. And I think that's what I would want people to know about the work of ending domestic violence and trafficking in Maine is that survivors are amazing. And if we just listen to what they need and we listen to advocates and what they need, they'll tell us. Yeah. They can pave the way if we can just help them out.
Great stuff.
Fantastic.
The website, again, is safevoices.org, and the 24/7 helpline is 1-800-559-2927. Grace, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you.
We're going to play a game now. I made a change today, Sarah.
Okay.
I took the initiative and made an executive decision when it comes to our closing game.
Okay.
What we're going to do is ask you,
this is either going to be really, really good or really, really bad.
Oh, I've already built it up way too much. You should know before you play, Grace, that due to budget constraints...
There's no prizes.
No prizes.
Okay. 0 prizes.
No, you actually brought us more than we could ever
You know
give
what?
you.
Today's prize is a box of donuts.
No, one donut.
I'm sorry, one
Take them all.
donut. I'm sorry, just one donut. Sorry.
One donut from the box that I brought them.
I'm hearing from the producers, just one donut. That's all.
Have you seen the crew outside of this door?
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to let her walk out of here with a box of donuts?
This is a well-oiled machine. Yeah.
What a boss move, though, to walk in with a dozen donuts and walk out with them, too. They're like, no, I just didn't want to leave these in my car.
Grace is walking
are
by.
still mine.
Hated it.
You guys are the worst. Got any donuts?
Okay.
All right, Grace, you're making Lydia's Lunch Bunch history today.
Okay.
Because usually we ask our guest 3 random questions.
Okay.
Okay, today we're going to ask you 2 random questions, and we're going to close with a scruple.
What's a scruple?
I don't know what okay. He's going to tell us.
The official definition of a scruple is a feeling of doubt or hesitation with regard to the morality or propriety of a course of action. I'll give you an example, okay? This isn't the question we're going to ask Grace,
Okay.
but this is an example of a scruples question.
Okay.
The police ask you for information about a friend involved in political activities. Do you cooperate fully? All right, so we're going to start off with 2 random questions.
Okay.
Grace, do you have any hidden talents? And what are they? Because we know you do.
I don't know if it's hidden. I'm a writer. So, I mean, it's not hidden so much. I'm in school for it, but it's not what we've talked about today. So I'm a writer.
Okay.
I didn't know that about Grace.
I've written a novel. I've written a Western.
What?
A Western?
Yeah.
Is it like a sci-fi Western like Firefly? No.
No.
Just a regular Western.
Just a regular Western. It's not a regular
I'm
Western.
not disappointed.
It's got a female queer lead. Yeah. So that's my hidden. I mean, all writers are hidden, right? We do it alone in a dark room.
Is it a published novel?
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
When it is, will you tell
I'm
me?
still doing like the last edits before I work on submitting it. Sure, of course I'll tell you.
I want to read it.
We'll
Can
need
we-
to have you back on in a different capacity.
Perfect.
We can maybe, Do you think you'll have it ready by the time that you guys have the adult book fair? In
Not
March?
with my knowledge of publishing. That would not.
Okay.
That is maybe next year's, the
Okay.
2026 book
Okay.
fair, maybe.
Okay.
It's the grown-up book fair.
That's right. Adult books
We don't
are different.
Yeah, we don't say adult book fair. It brings
Is
different
it, an adult,
connotations.
is it an adult book?
And a whole new different clientele. All right. Well, that was a great answer.
It was.
you.
We had Sarah and I both know you kind of, and we had no idea.
I did not know.
Do you have a question for Grace?
I do.
Alrighty.
What is the sneakiest thing you ever did as a child?
Oh, so this is gonna be dark but funny for anyone who grew up like this. If you live in an abusive household, you get sneaky so fast. Because everything becomes sneaky. It's like getting a snack becomes sneaky.
You don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, because so you get, despite what they think they're achieving, like you get very good at being sneaky. You get pretty good at lying.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of I once brought a kitten home and did not tell my parents for a full week, and they didn't know, they didn't suspect it.
Wow.
It was only when I had to clean the litter box I had hidden in my closet that I couldn't I couldn't do that part of the process without them somehow seeing. But no, a whole week I had a kitten in my room. I had found him on the side of the road with my friend while we were driving home, and I made my friend Michael stop so that I could get out and save this kitten. Aww. And Michael sweared at me the whole way. He's like, if that cat does anything in my mom's car. But it didn't, and we ended up keeping it. So it worked out.
Oh, good.
It worked out.
I like the happy ending.
I know. I was going to ask, please tell me this ends well. All right, Grace, for the first time in Lydia's Lunch Bunch history, here is your scruples question.
Yeah.
Someone you really don't like invites you to go to an expensive restaurant you'd love to try. Do you go just for the meal?
No.
Why?
I am introverted enough that when my friends invite me out, that's a debate. And I love my friends. And so if it's somebody I don't like, absolutely not. No.
Okay.
No.
Sarah? I think Sarah would go.
So many questions.
I know.
I would go.
You would.
Yep.
You would?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, as a personal challenge, because if you don't like somebody, there must be a reason. And if you're having a meal with them, you're sort of forced to spend that time kind of considering why you don't like them. Like if I didn't like them because they were mean to babies or something, I'd be like, no. But if I just didn't like them because I didn't like their personality, I'd give it a shot.
Okay.
What do you got to lose?
Oh, I mean, hours of your life
Yeah.
with somebody who's not fun.
Feed food poisoning and go home. Separate cars, Grace. Always separate cars.
Oh my gosh, always separate cars.
Always.
That's not a question even with friends.
Yeah.
Always separate
Always
cars.
separate cars.
I learned a new term yesterday that I'd never heard before. We've all heard of FOMO.
Yes.
Right? Fear of
Oh,
missing
yeah.
out. I learned about JOMO.
Joy
I
of
did
missing
too.
out.
Yeah.
That's my wife's favorite thing.
Yeah.
I told her about it yesterday, and she goes, I've never heard that before, but that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is no greater joy in my life than when I have committed to something and then it gets
And
canceled.
then somebody else cancels.
And you're like, oh no, I was
Yeah.
so looking forward to that.
And it's like, sure, I was when I made the plans.
Right.
I was a different person.
I'm a
then.
different person today.
Yeah.
For sure. Things have happened.
Yeah.
In the last 24 hours.
But yeah,
even.
no, for me, it's just life is too short to hang out with people who I don't enjoy and who usually if I really don't like someone, usually it's because I it's because they're not kind. Like
Yes.
that's like the bar for me. It's like you have to be a kind person. And like outside of that, there's usually some common ground I can find. But if you're not nice, no. I don't have time for that.
See, it would depend why I didn't like that person. I'm with Grace.
Who isn't?
I know. She's pretty fabulous.
Grace is a peach.
She's pretty fabulous.
Oh, look how this turned around.
That's what we do, Grace.
We wouldn't tease you if we didn't like you.
That I get.
Don't
That I
you know
get
that?
very much?
Yeah. We tried that before with someone we didn't like, and it ended in bloodshed. So we're
I was stabbed.
yeah. We're not going down that road again. It was a whole thing. Yeah. Grace, we hope you had fun. Thank you for sharing all of the great information about Safe Voices.
Yes.
And don't forget, everyone, the Fall Fête is happening October 24th at the Hilton Garden Inn Riverwatch in Auburn.
Are you guys needing volunteers?
For the we need volunteers, not necessarily for the Fête, but we need volunteers. We are always looking for folks who want to volunteer on Helpline. You get a really robust training for how to take Helpline calls. And every volunteer who we have who does Helpline frees up an advocate to be doing in-person work with someone. So that's a huge
very
way
important.
to have an impact. And then pretty soon we're like 98% done with the renovation of our resource center at Lisbon Street. And downstairs will be a free boutique for survivors. And so we also are needing some volunteers soon to come in like once a week, once every 2 weeks, and volunteer for like straightening up the free boutique.
Cool.
As people are using it. Because, things get they get messy. Things get,
Rummaged through.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like any other store.
Yep. So
That's very cool. I really like that because I feel like listeners, after hearing you talk about how passionate you are about what you're doing at Safe Voices, I feel like that would be very inspirational for people, and perhaps you'll get a little push of people interested in volunteers. So hopefully, and how would they go about getting information about volunteering?
So they can find information on our website. You can you could email me. I'll give you the general email. It's giving, GIVING, @safevoices.org, and then I can get you in touch with the volunteer coordinator.
Awesome.
Thanks for your time today.
Thank you both.
We appreciate you, and we appreciate Safe Voices so much.
She is Grace Kendall, Director of Development and Engagement for Safe Voices. If you would like more information on the great work that Safe Voices is doing, go online to safevoices.org. Thanks to our sponsors today, Ruper's Beverage and Redemption and UPI Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And if you'd like to be part of the Lydia's Lunch Bunch advertising family, reach out to Pam Ashby via email at pam@lydiamediallc.com. That's going to do it for us. We will see you tomorrow when we have a couple of Maine Nordiques in the studio.
Yay, this will be my first Nordiques interview.
Yeah, we'll recap their tournament in Blaine, Minnesota, and look ahead to some road games. They get a lot of road games coming up before they return to the Colisée on October 26th. So tune in for that. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you tomorrow. We tried that before with someone we didn't like, and it ended in bloodshed. So
I was stabbed.
we're not going down that road again.